Welcome to the Impact Maker's Journey from Passion to Profits, the podcast showcasing heart-centered coaches, experts, and energy healers who are on a mission to change lives and create meaningful success doing what they love. I'm your host, Wendy Vaughan, business success coach and founder of Impact Maker Coaching. And I've got to be honest, the path from passion to profits is rarely easy, but it's always filled with growth, clarity, and surprising rewards. Now, each week I sit down with inspiring impact makers who have turned their knowledge and wisdom into thriving businesses that are making a meaningful difference for others. I will explore their personal and professional journeys, how they found their calling, and how they continue to stay aligned with their passion along the way. So if you're here to expand your vision about what's possible for yourself, you're in the right place. So join me as we discover the positive ripple effects created by today's guest. All right. Hi there, everyone. I have as my guest today, Paula Nuspl. Now, Paula is an interior design specialist who supports women that are going through change in their lives and they feel a bit disconnected from their space. So she helps them to feel grounded, clear, and at home again in their lives. So welcome, Paula. I am so excited to have you as my guest today.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to discovering more about your journey as an entrepreneur, because what I've discovered is that every entrepreneur's journey is a bit unique. We all have different lives. We all have different, those opportunities that kind of launch us down this path. And typically, that journey of being an entrepreneur includes lots of, I guess a polite way of saying it is opportunities for personal growth, right? Do you agree? Those things
I
where, I didn't realize this. So let me ask you, do you feel like you're the same person now as you were when you started out as an interior design specialist?
Oh, goodness, no. No, not at all. Not at all. It has been very much a growth journey, both
Yeah.
personally and professionally, for sure.
Yeah,
For
they pretty
sure.
much go hand in hand. Business growth, personal growth. So, and let's face it, the journey from passion to profits is not easy. It's very complex. But the thing that I feel is the same for all of us, regardless of that path that each of us takes, is that vision, right, of making that meaningful difference for others. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your, journey. Curiously, how long have you been an interior design specialist and what prompted you to become an entrepreneur?
So I have been an interior design specialist for 30 years.
Wow.
And it has been quite the journey. I graduated from Purdue University many, many moons ago and was in radio and television broadcasting. When I
Oh,
moved out here to Oregon, I decided to do something way more creative and go back to school and become an interior designer. And I started out like everyone else did, just doing that kind of work. But as I started working with people, especially women, I noticed not only them but myself just how deeply impactful um, their spaces were for them, and how the disconnect between what they were feeling in the space and what they were seeing, like there was such mm, a
mhm.
I don't know the correct word. I'm not thinking of the right word right now, but it just wasn't jiving for them. And so that just got me more and more clear on what my goals were around people. Um, it wasn't so much about I'm going to make this pretty for you, or
Mhm.
you're going to have the hot couture, in the moment, what's in
Right.
fashion. To me, it went a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Versus
just found myself
what kind of
organically.
lights, what kind of lighting and color of paint. It sounds like it's a much deeper connection with bringing that all together. Yeah, I love that. So looking back then, 2020 hindsight, that's because that's always our best vision, right? That's where the clarity is. It's like, oh yeah. Is there anything that you would have done differently to build your business faster? Meaning interior designer for 30 years, um, and then switching into more of a, the transformational work. So is there anything that, you feel now that, oh boy, that would have really sped things along?
I think had I had the mentor that I had had earlier, who saw more into me and who I am and what I do, it didn't
Mm-hmm.
occur to me what I was until she kind of said, you do these things. And because I'm an empath and an intuitive, and
Mm.
she started seeing a vision for me that I I didn't recognize or realize until she pointed it out to me. So it would
Mm.
have been nice to have that sooner, to know what I was already organically doing. But again, I think sometimes we get so close to our own selves that sometimes we don't see that.
Oh yeah, the
So
blind
that was really
spots
helpful.
are definitely have blind spots, and it does take that outside perspective to illuminate what we're naturally so great at. Because for us, it's just like, well, of course I do that, and for others, it's like, oh my gosh, do you realize how magnificent that is? Like, nope.
Well, and I think
So,
for entrepreneurs too, like you were saying, like as your business grows and as you see what you do and how others are impacted by that, you're always shifting and
mhm.
growing around that, to be in alignment with what people are seeking you for and how you can serve them.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, so I know that your specialty is working with those women
Mhm.
who have experienced a major life change, challenge, transition, something of that nature that's really rocked their world, right? So, curiously, what is a common false belief that they have that keeps them stuck in this state of disconnect from joy or from the life that they really want? What's a common misunderstanding or false belief that they have that just keeps them feeling like, oh well, things are just not going to change for me?
Honestly, I think it's the devil you know. I think a lot of people stay where they're at because we're such malleable and adjustable people. Like we adjust to our environments and to situations that, again, I think we often get like side blinded as to what there's other opportunities and other choices that we can make. And so when you pose those curiosities to somebody, much like my mentor did for me 15
Yeah,
years ago,
right.
and you stop and you go, huh, I never saw it that way. Um, it opens up for people, and then they start to think about what could be possible. What
Mm,
could I create for myself?
mhm.
So it's not just defaulting to, well, I guess this is what it is right here.
Yeah.
No, you get to have another choice.
Yes, yeah, tapping into that land of possibilities versus, oh well. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
powerful. That is powerful. So speaking of that, what's going on for these women when it comes to their lives, their profession, their home life, those kinds of things that finally prompts them to say, enough. Something has got to change. I need to fix this. I need more peace and calm versus this feeling of, ugh.
Well, often it's something that happens to all of us at some point. Not all of these situations, but if you have children, they've moved off and gone to school, or
Mm-hmm.
they've moved out of your home, that's a transition that a lot of people go through. And there's a grieving process, and there's a shift there that, one door opening, another door closing sort of situation,
Mm-hmm.
where they have to adjust. So it's in those adjustments periods. Maybe you've had a divorce. That's a huge adjustment. Many women go through that. You're in a career that just isn't satisfying you anymore and you want more. you're looking for something greater or the passion that you've always had that you want to explore.
Mm,
And these are just normal everyday life things that people go through. And what I always say to people is that your home is an extension of yourself. So you tend to surround yourself with things or manifest things in your space that reflect how you're truly feeling
mm,
about yourself and your situation. And so it's a symbiotic relationship. So you have the opportunity to reverse that and to
mm.
actually have your environment set up to then serve you in the best way possible by setting that intention. And that's a mistake a lot of people, or not necessarily a mistake, but I think something that people overlook is how their home and work environments do impact them on the
Well,
daily.
that right there is a false belief, right? Or a misunderstanding in
Sure.
terms of the impact of our environment on just how we're feeling, and to realize that, wow, I could flip this around and I can change my environment and therefore feel more energized, more at peace, maybe even happier, right? So
Right,
having
exactly.
that reversal. So tell us, if you could, um, after working with you, like, let's get this a little bit more tangible, because this is a major transformation that you're supporting people, women, to experience. So if you could maybe share a story that you have of somebody that you worked with, so that we get just a better understanding of the work that you do.
Sure. So I had a client who had this living room well, first of all, she was going through sort of a major health situation. And
Okay.
she had, teenage boys at the time, and she didn't just not, she felt like the house was run by them. And she was going through this, like I said, this health situation, and she just didn't feel like she had any space of her own. And her living room, she's like, this is the only space that the boys usually don't go into. And I really need this space for myself, but I hate the way it feels. And women tend to use that word a lot with me when they're talking about their spaces. I hate the way it looks and feels in here. Tell me more about that. So as we narrowed it down, she had bought some furniture that she was willing to just get rid of and start all over again. And I expressed to her that what she was missing was that the room felt very cold and empty. And she was feeling all these feelings about her illness and not feeling supported, feeling empty, feeling cold. And I said, what we need to do is we need to make this room cozier for you. And here
Mhm.
are the few tweaks that we need to do in order to make that happen. And it doesn't require you buying a bunch of furniture. That's not what this is about. And so we made those tweaks. And she said that completely shifted my entire, like, I felt supported. I go in that room all the time now. I journal in there. I have my
Mhm.
tea in there. I listen to my music in there. I call my friends in there for support.
Mm.
She's like, it has become my sanctuary. And now
Wow.
I feel like I have a safe, grounded place just for myself
Mm.
to be able to be what I need to be for me to support myself through this journey that I'm going through.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so that again really dawned on me just how impactful our spaces can be.
Right.
And before she was just feeling very cold and not welcomed in her home. And so this really
Yeah,
shifted
that's a
that for her,
problem. If you don't
right?
feel, like your home is a place to rejuvenate and regenerate, then yeah, that's a
Sure.
problem. And it's one thing to go away for maybe a long weekend to maybe, get refreshed and revived, but then when you return home, there it is. So the work that you do is more long term and sustainable, is what I love.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
especially too with I had another client who was she's an entrepreneur where I work with a lot of entrepreneurs too, and she wanted help with her office. And she showed me a picture of her office. It was very sparsely decorated. It had boxes and kind of like you know, a culmination of things to sort of get her by. And
Mm.
it was gray, the walls were gray, and she was not, there wasn't enough light. And I said, okay, here's what we need to do. And we shifted things around in her office to the degree that within the next like month, she got like three new clients. And her
Wow.
daughter walked in and said, "Oh my goodness, mom, this feels like an executive office." Like her daughter was even impacted by it. And she
Yeah.
said, "I know, I feel important in here. I feel like
Mm.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, where before it was like this haphazard, thrown together situation." And so that manifested in her business. She wasn't
Yeah.
showing up as her greatest self.
Hmm.
So I want women to do that. Show up as your
Hmm.
best and brightest self so you can be your best out in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it coming from an experience where, we built a custom, I had a custom home built for us. We didn't build it, but going through that process of, okay, it's a blank slate, choose, and not having any idea the impact. Like you said, you're intuitive, and obviously you can connect with the person's like inner, I don't want to say you're like a whisperer, but you connect with them at a very intuitive level. Whereas me, when I go to the paint store, it's like, I don't know, some sort of bright, but yeah, not too bright, lighting. Something that's warm but not dim. So just these vague, like clunky ideas, whereas the nuances and the slight tweaks to really create that space that is it's nourishing and fulfilling. So yeah, I love that. I love that. And obviously, you're very passionate about the work that you do, um, which I absolutely love, because what I've seen over and over, during the 8 some odd years now that I've been coaching, thousands of professional coaches and energy workers, is that frequently the frustrations and challenges that go along with building a business, plus the inconsistent results in terms of revenue, clients, all that sort of thing, really dampens that original passion. But
Mm.
what I love is that after 30 years, you're still extremely passionate about the work you do, which is, a testament to that, the transformation that you provide. And, which is why I love being a business success coach, is because I know without a shadow of a doubt, with the right strategy and support, that every coach or energy worker can have that thriving business. So I would love to know, what is your secret to refueling your passion for serving those women in those challenging times?
Because of my own journey of not giving up when these challenging situations happen and knowing that there's always tools in your toolbox, to move you forward. I've always told people I'm the kind of designer that I don't just recreate. The passion for me comes through my client, honestly. Um, Seeing their journey and what is possible for them. I see myself as a facilitator and a guide. I tap in deeply to you, but I also mirror you back to you, that your greatness and your amazingness, and have that come out in the design. I want your space to truly be an outward representation of your magnificence. And
Mm-hmm.
watching that blossom, watching a woman who's going through this transition, which again we all go through, and supporting her and holding space for her and letting her know that her choices, her feelings, her thoughts, to be seen, heard, acknowledged, and to be made physical in her space. That's what fuels my
Mm-hmm.
passion and
Yes.
my wanting to continue to be in service, and being in alignment with that energy that they're giving me because I'm always so deeply honored when someone lets me into their home, their space, their life to share with me what's going on and how I can help them to create what it is they want to create. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no greater joy for me than that.
It requires a huge level of trust and vulnerability, and the rewards are priceless. So, yeah. And
Absolutely.
I believe that helping people to achieve those new levels of peace, happiness, joy, even financial success just creates a huge ripple effect. It's infinite, right? One of my mentors early in my entrepreneurial journey was Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series.
Hmm.
And he wasn't my direct mentor. I was in a mastermind with he and Bob Proctor, which was amazing. It was a 3% club. And we got to meet with them every quarter in Colorado Springs at the Broadmoor uh, Estates. I don't know what the hotel, anyway, beautiful property. And just being in the presence with these two visionaries was just uplifting. You know, the whole energy shift, just being in their proximity, right? Because they're such visionaries. And one of the things that Mark taught me, and I'm sure tens of thousands of others, is that he said, Wendy, you just need to get just this, and what he called this big, hairy, audacious goal, this vision that fuels your passion and helps you to overcome all these little barriers. And so ever since then, like I said, that was early in my entrepreneurial journey. I've had various iterations of a big, audacious goal. And for me, currently, my BHAG, as Mark calls it, big, hairy, audacious goal, is to raise consciousness within humanity,
Mm.
which is audacious, right? Me raising consciousness. But the way I see it is supporting people like yourselves who get in there and support these women through the transformation, the transitions from being in this state of to this state of excitement, passion, empowerment, right? The ripple effects from that. Like, just think of that woman now, you know, with her sons. She's a different woman now. So her
Mhm.
sons are going to be different people. They're probably going to treat women differently. Who knows? The ripple effects are infinite. So that's my piece and part in raising consciousness within humanity, helping people to wake up to, hey, there is a better option here. I could call Paula and turn my life around with doing something with this space that is right now, it's just a drain. So, yeah, because I believe the work of heart-centered experts like yourself who are doing that work, you're the ones that are raising consciousness, one person at a time. And the more people that we support to wake up to truly what's possible for them in terms of happiness, joy, and abundance, the world becomes a better place. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Paula. Do you have a big audacious goal or vision for yourself or your business?
I definitely have to say, off of what you've said, is empowering women to live their best and highest, like be pulled towards their highest self and live their best life. And
Yes.
that means saying yes to yourself. We as women tend to say yes to everyone else. We're nurturers and we're good at nurturing everyone around us. We're great multitaskers. We take care of everything around us. And I'm saying take all those tools that you have in your toolbox because we're super women and direct some of that energy towards yourself
Mm,
and know that you get to also, you deserve to create and have spaces and the life that you wish to have. And so my goal is just to empower those women, create and manifest your spaces and your environment, because that is going to pull you towards your highest and greatest self. And then you can do your best out in the
yeah,
world. So every woman I
absolutely.
get to touch to do that, that just even if it's the littlest thing that makes them, propels them forward, I feel like I've done. my job and what I'm
You've started
supposed
that
to do.
ripple effect. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's
Well,
my sole purpose.
and
Yeah.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you have a special gift for our listeners. Is that true?
I
Uh,
do. Yes,
you want
I
to share a
do.
few details about that, please?
Absolutely. So I offer a design clarity session. And what that is, it's a complimentary 30-minute session. It is not a sales call at all. It is meant to get clarity on what is happening for you right now. What is the situation or the transition you're going through? And how can we discuss how that's impacting you in your life? And what does that mean for you moving forward, right? How can we create together a nurturing space or a workspace or whatever, if your business, whatever, on how is that holding you back right now? Or what could you be creating if you made yourself, your space feel grounding, nurturing, supportive? So it's a conversation around that.
Awesome.
Um, and
Yeah.
then if we can get clear on that, that in and of itself is a lot of information right there. Just like, wow, I didn't know that I could create this thing for myself and it's going to propel me forward. And then at that point, we can talk about next steps and see if and how I can help you, or together we can collaborate and create together what that looks for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing. I love that. And it's such an important step to take, right? Those first steps to just entertain the possibilities of what could shift here and create
exactly.
a different space that I feel more alive or empowered, like you said, or grounded or at peace, because that is so important. So yeah, thank you so much. That is such a generous gift. So listeners,
Thank
look in the
you.
show notes for the link um to schedule that session, and that's complimentary, right? Oh,
Absolutely. 100%
fantastic.
complimentary.
Ah, that's so generous of you. Well, thank you so much. And thank you again. It's just been wonderful hearing about your journey as an interior design, as an entrepreneur, as a visionary yourself, and truly expanding our view of the type of happiness and joy and success that truly is possible for women after they've experienced these major life events, right? Sometimes they're challenges, sometimes they're opportunities. It's always, life has that way of presenting those times when we need to kind of just sit back, reassess, like COVID, right? It was an opportunity, the pandemic. Okay, reassess. And I love that you're filling that space in such a creative and expressive way. So thank you again, Paula. I appreciate the work that you do. And this has been a great conversation.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, the real life transformations facilitated by experts like my guest today are truly priceless. I mean, happiness, joy, peace, love, right? These are all what each of us ultimately strives for in life. But becoming a sought after and well paid coach or energy healer is often challenging, overwhelming, and frustrating. So, if you're a heart centered coach, expert, or energy healer who's striving for more ease, flow, and abundance, well, I've created a special gift just for you. So, check out the show notes. All right. Well, this is Wendy Vaughan signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in, and be sure to join me for my next episode where we'll be inspired by yet another impact maker's journey.